In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the transmission mount on this Ford Escape. It's going to be located on the driver's side right above the transmission. Let's get into it. Take the wiper arms off, just use a pick. We'll take this little cover off on the side. Just get underneath there, pop that cover off. Using a 15mm socket, take this nut off. Grab the arm, you just want to rock it back and forth. Get it to separate. Slide that off out of the way. Do the same on the other side. I'm going to take these clips off. Just use a pick, get underneath the clip. These ones over here have like an extra clip. Get underneath there, pop those out. And grab this cowl and just lift up. There you go. It's just clipped in underneath. Those clips just push down. Using a T25 socket, we're going to take these two screws out. And that's just going to sit right there. Using a 8mm socket, take these screws out. That's loose, then do the same on the other side. Now grab this panel, and it pulls right out. And we're going to pull the engine cover off, just grab underneath, lift up. It comes right off. Disconnect this hose here, just push on the two tabs on the sides. Slide that off. Remove this bolt here, use an 8mm socket. Loosen up this worm clamp here, use a 7mm socket. Loosen up this worm clamp right here, use an 8mm socket. All right, that's loose. Slide the snorkel off. Take that out of the way. Disconnect the connector for the mass airflow sensor. Then over here, just pull this up. We're going to grab the air box. Just slide this out of the way. That out. We're going to remove the negative terminal, use a 10mm socket or a wrench, loosen that up, and just set that aside. And we can loosen up the positive terminal, use a 10mm socket. Set that aside. Using a 10mm socket, take these two nuts off. And remove that bracket. And pull the battery out. Grab the battery box right here. I'm just gonna pull up. There's a little clip right there on both sides. It's gonna slide out. Set that aside. Using a 10mm socket, take these bolts out. Those bolts out. Using a T20 socket, take this screw out. Using a trim tool, just pop that push pin out, and this box can come right out. Underneath, we're going to use a floor jack and just a block of wood underneath the transmission. And you just want to support the weight of the transmission. Just take some of the weight off the mount, and that's good right there. Using a trim tool, just disconnect the wires over here off the retainers. There's another wire retainer right next to it. Pop those off, that's good. Using an 8mm socket, take these two bolts out. Now we're going to take the nuts off. There's two on the front here. Use a 15mm socket. Take those off. Just push the wires out of the way. Grab the bracket, slide the bracket up. This piece comes off. Using an 18mm socket, take this bolt out. Just grab the mount, pull it up, out of the way. And take the new mount, line that up. You might have to adjust the floor jack to make it line up. Just lower it down a little. There we go. That's better. And get the bolt started. Tighten this down. We're going to torque this bolt to 109 foot-pounds. There we go, that's good. Put this bracket on. Put these bolts in. Tighten those down. It's good. Take this bracket and line the bracket up. It's good. Take the nuts, put the nuts on. Snug those down. And I'm going to torque those to 35 foot-pounds. That's good. And we can lower the transmission, the floor jack, take that out of the way. And I'll take the wires, push the retainers in underneath the bracket. That's good. I take the box, battery box, line that up. Should be lined up with the bolt holes. And get the bolts started. And tighten those down. This bracket on the side. Push the push pin in and then take the screw, get that started. Snug that down. Take the battery, and just line that up. And take this panel right here. Slide that in place. You might just have to bend the bracket out a little bit, but that lines up good. Put the bracket on and the nuts. Snug those down. I'll take the positive cable, line that up, and we'll tighten that down. Snug, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. Take the negative, line that up, and we'll tighten that down. And I'll just use a 10mm socket. Snug that down, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight, that's good. Put the battery cover on. Make sure it snaps in place. I'll take the air box underneath the wires or hoses. Get this to line up over here. And then push it down into the bushings. Relatch that, that's good. Take the connector. Plug that into the mass airflow sensor. All right. Take the hose, intake duct. Get that lined up. Connect this hose here. Lock that down. Tighten down the worm clamp. Snug that down. Just make sure that's snug. That's good. Put this bolt in. Get that lined up. Snug that down. Take the engine cover, line it up, push it back on. Take the shield, line it up. It's good. And take these bolts, get those started. And we can tighten those down. Snug, that's good. Do the same on this side. Snug that down. And then put these 2 screws in. Hold the reservoir up. Get that lined up. Tighten those down. Good. And take this panel, slide it in place. That's good. Put these clips in. I'll put the wiper arms on. Make sure they're in the same place on the windshield when you took them off. Put the nuts on. Tighten those down. Then you'll put the cap on. Do the same on the other side. Snug those down. Put the cap on.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.